Well, hello there. This is a message for Easter. I guess our Easter in the West corresponds with the last day of Passover for the Jewish people. So Easter and Passover, a message well, from us to you. And I was thinking about issues regarding morality and particularly the question of a code of honor. We see much that is disturbing in the world today. I find the news disturbing, as I'm sure you do. And I think that part of the problem of the world is the lack of any code of honor. There was one, I don't know whether you'd call it a code of honor, a series of commandments to live by that I was involved in drafting when I was a younger man. They started out as 9, and then we consulted others, and they became 12. And I looked at them again, and I felt they were, if I was going to share an Easter message, I thought this could be it. I was inspired, actually, when I was with a friend called Father Jeff for Maunday's Thursday service yesterday, and we were talking, or he was preaching about what Maunday meant. Maunday meant from mandatum in the Latin, from the idea that Jesus gave a mandate, well, his final commandment, love one another as you wish to be loved by. Well, he said, yes, love one another. That was it, really, actually, his last commandment at the Last Supper. Love one another without qualification. And we don't. That's a code to live by, if ever there was one. But let's simplify it a little, or complicate it, if you like. I'm going to split it down into 12 commandments. Those 12 from, I guess, 40 years ago when these were written. Respond with care and power to the one that wounds you. This is the first. Well, that may sound a little strange. But, of course, Christ said, turn the other cheek. I'm not saying you have to do that. But respond with care and with power. And consider what the powerful thing to do is. If I were Hamas in Gaza, I might actually just release all the hostages as a gesture of power. And take control in that way by doing that. Does that not seem like taking control? What's very important is to have some sense of control in your life. And if I were an Alawite on the Syrian coast, I might behave differently. I might try and rearm. I don't know. But I would want to find a way to take control. We need a sense of control of our destiny. And that's what I mean by responding with care and power to the one that wounds you. Sometimes you wound yourself, and all you can take control of is walking the dog, but you should do it. But we need that sense of control. Respond with care and power to the one that wounds you. The second commandment, do not hurt or fight with gentle people. Well, now, here's the thing. We live in a world where people are always hurting gentle people. Collective punishment in Gaza. There is this terrible concept called utilitarianism, whereby people believe in the greatest good for the greatest number. It's wrong. Prophet Muhammad said, if you kill one person, it's as if you killed the whole world. If you save one person, it's as if you saved the whole world. But regardless of what religious thinkers and leaders have said, a sense of natural justice will tell you that killing the innocent for the greater good is not good. If you're Israeli and you kill hundreds, indeed thousands of innocent civilians because you justify it on a utilitarian basis, because you say, well, the greatest good for the greatest number of Israelis means that we have to sacrifice civilian lives, Palestinian civilian lives, in order to take out terrorists. No, you don't. It is ethically wrong. It's against the great codes of honor. Never mind religious leaders. Go back to the days of chivalry. Knights of old, they would not kill an innocent in collateral damage. It's not confined to Israel. This is something that's happening all the time. You look at the Alawite Coast now. But never mind that. Look at us in the West with our drones and the like, which, yes, collateral damage is a feature of warfare today, and it is wrong. It is wrong. It is ethically, morally wrong. You simply do not hurt gentle people. Never mind you're trying to get at somebody. That's far from gentle. Here's the third commandment. Care nothing for your life, nurture others with your concern, weep less for yourself, spread joy selflessly, save your tears for another's tragedy. That's a long one. But the Arabs have a saying, don't they? My toothache is worse than 100 dead in Jerusalem. Well, don't live that way. Weep for the 100 dead in Jerusalem and not for your toothache. Easily said, far easier to say than do, but it's where it's at. And it's one of the ways of dealing with depression. If you can focus out at other people's troubles rather than in at your own. Of course, depression, the black dog, is difficult to deal with in any circumstances, but focusing out helps. And okay, here's the next. Remain silent except to the truth. This is the fourth of these commandments. Remain silent except to the truth. Well, you remember Jesus, when he was interviewed by Pontius Pilate, he didn't lie, but he was silent when asked questions. And I think that's important. Honesty can be cruel. You don't need to be cruel with your honesty, with your criticism of others. You can be silent. There's enough trouble. I remember a dear friend of my wife, Veronica's, called Amanda, died young of cancer, bowel cancer. And the day before she died, she said to me in the hospice, when we visited her there, she said, my legacy for you, William, is that you should not criticize yourself anymore. There are plenty of others that will do that for you. Oh, what a powerful thing to say. And we ourselves don't need to always criticize others. We can remain silent. We're too quick to pull people down. And we don't need to tell people truths that hurt them. Remain silent except to the truth. Here's the fifth commandment. Promise nothing. Now there's a curiosity. Yet it comes straight from Christ. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more than this comes from Satan. The words of Jesus. I remember I used to be in the printing trade. They used to talk of printers' promises, because printers would make promises. Well, we'll get it done tomorrow. When they knew full well they couldn't, but they were under such pressure all the time. People would want everything done yesterday. So printers' promises. Best to promise nothing. Really. Because it's not right if you don't deliver when you say you'll do a thing. Should say, I'll try. The Arabs have this saying, and they use it too much. Inshallah, God willing. Okay, well, you don't have to be quite that bad. And use God as an excuse, but you do have to avoid making promises you can't keep. And the sixth commandment, do not let your intellect become the slave of emotion. Let your emotions serve your intellect as a powerful banked fire would serve a house. Be not angry. Well, again, this is one of these commandments that really resonates with the Sermon on the Mount, doesn't it? Jesus said it again and again. Be not angry. Anybody, what did he say? Anybody who calls his brother a fool is in danger of the fires, is in danger of condemnation from his neighbor, but anybody who is angry with his brother, I can't remember, but it goes something along the lines of is in danger of the fire of hell. I mean, you shouldn't be angry. Never serves a good purpose in you. Very rarely. But you can keep that inner sense of passion like a banked fire and let it fuel your action to make this a better world. But you shouldn't let it explode into anger. Really, we shouldn't. I do that. I used to do that so much when I was younger. So much. And it's not a good thing, really. Be not angry. The seventh commandment is a curious one. What you need, give away, and what you do not need, relinquish. Surrender your possessions as if they were another's joy and your burden. Well, again, resonates with the Sermon on the Mount if you can live that way. Christ said, a man asks you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Feed the hungry, etc. And there are people that do live that way and have done, St. Francis of Assisi and the like, who give up or gave up everything, and people still do it. But be a cheerful giver, at least. I'm not saying you should have to give up everything, but be a cheerful giver. Don't resent what you give. God loves a cheerful giver. And give, when you can, as if your possessions were a burden to you. I mean, not all of you have excess money. I would say I didn't. And yet I'm wealthy compared to some of the people starving in the bitter cold in Gaza or whatever. All things are relative, aren't they? Anyway, try to give away what you don't need if you have more than you need. I'm not saying you do, but if you have more than you need, then try. The 8th commandment, surrender your soul with love to the power of the Spirit of God. Well, abandonment to God? Not a bad idea. God will enter your life if you surrender to God. I'm not suggesting the impossible. What's that hymn I love? As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul desireth thee. My heart desireth thee, perhaps. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone will my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. God, surrender your spirit. Gosh, it makes life easier. As Blaise Pascal say, I mean, if you had to bet on a thing as to whether God existed or God doesn't, better bet on the he exists side, because you lose nothing if he doesn't. But if you bet on that he doesn't exist and he does exist, then you're in trouble. It was something like that Pascal said, the great French philosopher. Anyway, the point is, I believe he does exist. Or she. What do the Alawites call God? The great unknown. Well, the great unknown, he or she, exists. And we do well to surrender our will to be a servant of God. That was Maundy Thursday before Easter. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. The Son of God washing the feet of mere ordinary men. There's normally a foot washing ceremony where priests wash the feet of members of the congregation. I didn't get my feet washed on Thursday. I was expecting to. There you go. I noticed some women going forward and taking both their shoes off to make sure they both got both their feet in the bucket. Eager. Sorry, I'm sidetracking. Anyway, I'm just saying. Surrender your soul with love to the power of the Spirit of God. The 9th, tomorrow is God. Yesterday is dead. Remember, you're a child of today. Well, that's enormously empowering if you can live in the moment, because tomorrow, God knows what tomorrow will bring. You steal if you touch tomorrow. Tomorrow belongs to God. Yesterday is dead. It's finished. Not saying you can't cherish your memories. Of course you can, and you should. They're important. But you live in the moment. You live in the day. The Buddhists say life's like a river, and you're watching it from the riverbank, and you see the whole river. Well, yes, but you can't spend your entire life looking for the future and looking for the past. You do stand at the riverbank, and it is important to live in the present and take joy from the present, in the present situation in which you find yourself, I believe. The 10th commandment. Never permit anyone to trap you with fear, for fear is evil. Well, again, resonates with the scriptures. Wasn't it the shortest verse in the Bible? Fear not. Anyway, Whether it is or whether it isn't, I don't know, but it's a theme that Christ returns to. Be not afraid. And it's there everywhere. If you live your life with fear, of course, it's easy to say. If we were in the middle of a war zone, then I would be frightened for my children, if not for myself. The four great freedoms that Franklin Roosevelt advocated: freedom from want, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and freedom from fear. They're the basis on which the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is founded. And we need that. We need freedom from fear. And others will try and trap you with fear. And they're doing the wrong thing. And just keep hope in your heart and keep strong. Because fear is evil. It's the incarnation of Satan. It is satanic. Those that promote fear, even through state terrorism, are wrong. Okay, now we're nearly there. 11th commandment: never trap yourself with pride, for pride is evil. Well, there you go. Am I overproud? In some respects, yes. But we've all got partners that'll help bring us down a little, down to earth, and remind us so that we are mere mortals. But you do see some people who are actually trapped by pride, that are so puffed up like peacocks. And that is evil. That is wrong. That is a sin. So be careful. I'm not saying you should be. There's some sort of. Many Christians have this obsession with humility, whereby they think they have to be humble, oh so humble, like Uriah Heep, and say, whoa, I'm not important. Come on, you are important. Your God values you as much as the greatest person in the universe, because he loves all, or she loves all of his or her children equally, just as you do if you have children. It's not the point. The point is humility of the kind that Christ advocates is the ability to serve others. That kind of humility, not, oh, I'm a little pathetic person. You don't need to tell yourself you're pathetic. What did I say just a few moments ago? Never criticize yourself, because there are plenty of others who will do that for you. No. You need to keep some sense of self-worth, but you don't need to be proud like a pruffle. Okay? I mean, obviously. Last commandment, 12th commandment: trust God always. Well, what's that line I've always liked? He or she who trusts can never be mistaken, only betrayed, which is true of human relationships, and many people betray the trust of another. But that's trusting God. You've got someone who will never betray your trust, who will stand by you until the end of time. And so that's what we're talking about. Trust God. That's what when Jesus said, believe in me and you'll be saved, what he meant was trust me. Doesn't mean believe I physically exist. That's not what they're talking to people that actually see him in front of them. He meant trust me and you'll be saved. You don't have to believe Jesus is God or the Son of God. You can be a Muslim or a Hindu or whatever. But God himself, you can trust. Even if you can trust nobody else. And that's important. So this is my Easter message. My Passover message, if we come to that. 12 commandments for you. To think about, at least. To build a better world. Which we all need to do. God bless you. God keep you this Easter tide. Thank you.